I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk to folks from the VTuber community about their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We're joined by Persephone Nova. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, everyone. My name is Persephone Nova. I go by Elysian Fields on Twitch and most social medias. I am a goddess VTuber, new to the VTubing world.
Yeah. How long have you been VTubing?
Since I believe late December.
No, so not too long. Long enough to get
Yeah.
get your feet on the ground though and get going. Um,
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who do VTubing, so I figured I'd dip my toes in it.
is that what got you started?
Yes, and that is how I got started. I had one friend who I think for a good year hounded me about becoming a VTuber, and I kept saying no because I originally started off as a cosplay streamer
Ah,
for a few months. Yeah.
oh,
Uh,
now that's some work there.
yeah, it's definitely easier
Yeah,
to to VTube.
yeah. I don't think people realize, and I've come over the years to appreciate the work that true cosplayers put into uh, the cosplaying. But, I
Y-
mean, to put together the outfit and everything, and have to uh, make uh, accessories out of scratch. It's really pretty amazing.
Well, I wasn't that crafty,
Mm,
honestly.
no.
I just put some outfits together to try to. I was mostly a Velma cosplayer
Ah.
because everybody always said I looked like Velma.
Mm.
So I kind of like went with it and said, "Okay, let's have fun with it." I mean, so I would just put a cute little outfit together, obviously I would at the time I had like, well, I still do, but I had nice red hair with the bangs and the glasses.
Yeah. So you
So everybody just convinced me, you look like Velma, you should cosplay her.
ah. So what did you think of the Velma series that came out?
Uh, I haven't watched it. I was told to avoid it at all costs.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I've heard.
yeah. Well, I mean, you gone from there, so you're kind of in a way did some performance before doing so.
Mhm.
Cosplay is a bit of a performance. Were you a performer as a young child?
No, I wasn't. I grew up not having much. I
Hmm.
could only like get what I could afford. So while I was playing with my little Game Boy Color,
Hmm.
everybody already had like the DS, and
Hmm.
I was there with my little Game Boy, all happy. So I was a little bit of a late bloomer in the gaming world.
Yeah, but
So
hey,
I was never really a performer, so
well,
but I did like to make a lot of people laugh, so I used to do like little quote unquote comedy skits for my parents, I guess.
oh, that's cool. So you really you had it inside you, but you didn't have the chance.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
too shy as a child.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have been able to use this medium as a chance to show that side of themselves, which is great.
Hmm.
You also kind of get get your net stuck out there a little bit, but having a model and having this particular format gives you a chance to have a bit of a shield anyway from your audience.
Hmm.
And it,
I think that's actually one of the biggest reasons why I actually really enjoyed VTubing when I got into it was because I could be myself without um feeling weird
mhm.
because people don't necessarily see my face. Like if they go to my social medias, they'll know what I look like IRL, but when it
Yeah,
comes down to streaming, I can be myself
yeah,
with this persona.
yeah. You're yourself. You're you without having to be you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot of people get to kind of, um, for lack of a better term, bloom a little bit on the internet
Mm.
if they're not very social people to start with. Were you one of those folks that made friends easy?
No, I still to this day am very socially awkward. So
Mm.
this right now is actually quite difficult for me.
Oh,
Um, so
just talking to a guy sitting at home. That's all.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I was definitely one to have a hard time, jumping into like Discord chats or
Mhm.
trying to make new friends online or just new friends in general. Like
Mhm.
I kind of just stuck to my own little bubble.
Yeah.
So uh, I guess I just grew more and more once I became more involved in the community,
Mm,
which thankfully did help
yeah.
my social anxiety a lot.
Well, for someone who has social anxiety, your about me says, "I am queen of the underworld and the goddess of spring." That doesn't exactly scream social anxiety.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny because Persephone, as most people know, is the god, like is the queen of the underworld, Hades'
Right.
wife,
Right.
and that's actually where it all stemmed from. Was my interest in Greek mythology growing up.
Wow. So you were big
Yeah.
into the Greek mythology. Yeah? A lot
Oh
of
yeah,
people,
huge.
and now I'm gonna bring up something that's gonna gripe you a little bit.
Uh-huh.
People don't know the difference between Greek mythology and Roman mythology.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I could see why they are quite similar, but obviously names are different
Mhm.
in each culture.
Yeah.
Um, and I always just tend to lean more towards the Greek side than the Roman side because it
Mhm.
just felt more, um, I just felt more attached to it, especially with the names. I felt the names were a lot more elegant and more
Right.
eye-catching than
Yeah.
that of the Romans.
And true. And a lot of people say that the Romans kind of stole it anyway. And
Yeah, I
uh,
was one of those
yeah.
people.
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of been proven that they just kind of
Yeah.
appropriated. That's one of the first culture appropriations, I guess, was
Yeah.
way back then. But so you kind of carried that um, uh, love of the Greek mythology along with you into this.
hmm
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of what my whole lore is based around is essentially um Persephone herself, the goddess, wanted to take a break from her queen duties and picked me as her successor, essentially. So I was a reincarnation of the new Persephone.
So how come the three-headed
Yeah.
dog's named Zeus?
So this is another reason why I decided to do VTubing. So Zeus is actually my real life companion
Yeah.
who just so happened to pass away
Oh,
a year ago,
I'm sorry.
and it's okay. VTubing, it took me a very long time to come up with my concept because I was trying to figure out something that was me and something that would scream my personality, but I also wanted my dog to be incorporated in it
Hmm.
because before he passed, when I was streaming and cosplay, he'd always like to make little guest appearances in the background. So a lot of people knew my dog,
Yeah.
especially within Discord. Everybody always loved Zeus.
Hmm.
Um, so when he passed away, um, it was obviously a very difficult time for me because
Of course.
I had gone through a really bad breakup. I had broken off a literal 5-year engagement, and he was pretty much the only thing I had left. So I
Oh.
was very, very close to this dog.
Oh.
When he, so when he passed, I wanted to do something to honor him. So that's where I started to kind of brainstorm and see if I could find a concept for what I now call the Cerbernese,
Mm.
which I actually found people have done on the internet, and made cute little commissions out of the Cerbernese. So I've been trying to get um, some people to see if they can make their own rendition of what Zeus would look like. So
Uh,
yeah, so essentially it's like me being able to spend the rest of eternity at this point in the underworld with my dog, my soul animal, my companion.
that is absolutely brilliant, and that's a
Thank
that's a
you.
great way to. You're always going to have the memory, but it's a great way to continue celebrating uh, an
Mhm,
obviously great part of your life. And
mhm.
by the way, congratulations to find the
Thank-
courage to bounce back from that and do what you're doing now. That's a long
Yeah,
rebound.
it is. It is. it definitely helped with my healing process for sure
Hmm.
because no matter what, when I do stream, I do have my little three-headed Cerberus in the corner of every stream.
Hmm.
I'm gonna try to get him incorporated a little bit more, maybe get like an animation of him like bouncing around at the bottom of the screen or something.
Right.
Something to bring him more to life. So that's hopefully to come in the future.
Yeah, yeah. Well, folks, you can check out Elysian Fields on Twitch. We'll have the different places where you can go and find and see what's going on with Persephone here in on the description for this particular video. Recently, you have been involved in Genshin Impact, um,
Mhm.
and a lot of people are. What brings you to Genshin Impact?
I've actually been playing since it first came out.
So when you were about
Yeah.
6, you started playing.
I don't think it's that old. I remember playing it when it like around the time when it first came out, before it became like this whole big thing because I stopped playing it for a while because I
Hmm.
was without a PC for about 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
and then I got back into it when I streamed, and I was like, oh my goodness, what happened? We went from having two maps to like five. What is going on?
Well, it's amazing to me for this particular game because really, you see people who come out with certain franchises and they'll update it with a you know such and such two or a different version of it. These guys didn't do that. They just kept working on this game, and now it's more popular than ever.
Hmm. Yeah, they just kept adding on to it. It's Genshin Impact is just so much more than just the storylines.
Hmm.
Like you have your little side quests, then you have your Archon quests, then you have like so many other things. Like they have co-op, so I can play with my friends who also like to play, or I can get, I can try to reel new players in so that they can play with me. Um, so yeah, it's definitely grown a lot since it first came out for sure.
So if the folks from Genshin Impact are listening, there's somebody here who would definitely be very good to sponsor.
Sponsor me, please.
I'm pointing toward the screen right now. They're putting in a really good word for you right now to be a
Oh
part of
yeah.
it. So what other games do you like to stream?
So I'll stream a little bit of like Fortnite, Overwatch. I've done Fall Guys, Content Warning. I used to stream a lot of Rainbow Six 2,
Oh
like Rainbow
boy.
Six Siege. Pal World I've done, Slime Rancher, pretty much anything that I can get my hands on that I feel like people would be worth, would like to watch.
Yeah, but you got to enjoy it too.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I always play games that I find interesting, but I also want to play something that's worth people's entertainment too. So I'll on occasion play scary games like The Mortuary's Assistant,
E-
or I know I played Little Nightmares. I'm planning on bringing that back because they
oh,
have 1 and 2. I
oh,
did Poppy Playtime.
oh my gosh. That
Yeah.
I've seen people play it for a little while, and then I haven't played it at all, and I'm not going to because horror games aren't up my alley, and I get nightmares from it. So I
Uh,
mean,
oh, I love the horror games, but for sure the nightmares do happen.
oh my
They're
gosh.
inevitable.
Now, you've played the content warning. I've seen a couple folks
Yes.
play. Now, what is the difference between that and maybe like a Lethal Company? Is there a big difference?
I haven't played Lethal Company yet. It's
Oh.
it's still on my wish list.
Uh, so, so,
I
so,
played Content Warning before I even got to Lethal Company.
so what are you doing in content warning? I haven't.
Uh, so you're apparently supposed to, with a couple friends, try to become famous on quote unquote SpookTube. So you get together with your friends and then you take like this weird spaceship thing that submerges, quote unquote, into like this weird spooky little world that has like these weird looking death snails and a a blender head monster. It's I can't. It's just so funny. I'm
It's,
not gonna lie. It's very entertaining to play and watch.
do I even want to know what kind of mind came up with that?
mean, it's just like when you sit there and you wonder the mind, like, the creators of Saw, what were they thinking? It's
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, it's like, oh boy, you really you come up with some ideas there.
Oh,
But it
yeah.
it looks like it's looked like people having a lot of fun with it.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's actually quite submersive too. Because so I'll meet up with friends in Discord. We'll deafen each other on Discord, and
Hmm.
then we'll keep our headsets on and mics on in game because the game you need to play the game
Hmm.
with your headset and mic in game, not so much off game
Right.
because if somebody's standing on your right, you're going to hear them in your right ear. If somebody's standing behind you, it's going to sound like they're behind you. It's
Oh,
so submersive.
oh, it's not VR, but it's AR, audio
Yes,
reality.
exactly.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me chills when I first started playing it because it threw me off a little bit,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
but
That
but in a good way.
and now,
In a good way.
yeah. I mean, it kind of reminds me when the film started doing that surround sound back
Mhm.
well before you were on the planet. And we started hearing the ships and stuff coming from behind us. That was a little too much. But having it in the games now, and uh, especially if you did this in like a horror game. Ooh,
Mhm. Well, I mean, it's like your headset definitely helps too.
yeah.
I mean, if you're willing to invest in like a pretty good like gamer headset or studio headset that can also pick that up and the way it'll like switch from like one ear to the next
Hmm.
so so gracefully, so fluidly. That's another thing.
Oh,
Thankfully, I do have a pretty good headset, so it just made the experience so much more enjoyable and so much more fun to play.
I can tell you as an old radio guy, a good headset helps you out so much. uh,
Hmm.
when you're trying to broadcast anything, whether you're recording something at home or whether you're listening to somebody live, uh, you pick up so much more with a good headset than anything else. Especially when you get older, you start losing frequency a little bit. So
Yeah.
it does help you get up there still. Um, Equipment does mean something, good equipment, but you can start off with this with not having the best equipment and still enjoy yourself.
Yeah, of course. I my original PC setup was and I'm talking from like 7, 8 years ago when I first got my actual gaming PC. It had I think it was like a 1020 graphics card, which is, and my new one, my brand new one that I just bought has a 4060. So you're going from a 1020 to a 4060. That's like a giant jump. Um, so I went from having like a tiny little set that could barely handle streaming to the setup that I have now, and I'm still trying to build to like improve for whoever stays around and watches because I want them to be just as submersive as I am.
Now you made your own model, am I right?
So the 3D model
Hmm.
that I use for streaming, yes, I made that myself.
Okay.
On Vroid. It
Um,
took me a couple days
yeah,
because I had no idea what I was doing.
yeah. I mean, have you been artistic to do that sort of thing in the past?
So I was always artistic with pen and pencil, like with pencil and paper.
Right.
Um, Not so much graphic designing, no. Like I did take a couple graphic designing courses when I was in high school,
Yeah.
and I was an art major when I first started college. But I was always so much better with just like pencil and paper. The once they started coming out with like the iPads
Right.
and like the Surface Pros where you can just draw on them, I've tried doing that and I guess I just like the old-fashioned way, just pencil and paper.
It doesn't quite hit you the same, does it?
No, it doesn't, especially because both of my parents have artistic backgrounds.
Oh.
So my mom, yeah, my mom used to do like realism, but obviously my mom did this as like a hobby. So
Mm.
she would draw realistic portraits for people. And my dad did graphic design when he first came to the States. And then when he was in the army overseas, they had him in the graphic design portion of,
Wow.
their part of the military.
So
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 he also had some sort of artistic background.
so that was gonna get to you one way or another.
Yeah, yeah. I've been drawing since I was really, really young, but I was more into cartoons and drawing mermaids and fairies and like things like that.
Well, I can tell you, your family has balanced me out because I have absolutely no ability whatsoever. So, so between all the talent in your family and my complete lack of talent, we'll hit the absolute average.
Hey, look, if you can definitely turn a stick figure into something pretty great. I've drawn many stick figure characters that I kind of just by the way I drew their mouth or the way I motioned their arms and legs, they made them look kind of realistic.
See, that takes talent. For me, when I draw a stick figure, I'm more likely to set whatever I'm drawing on fire. It it
No,
really is it's pretty bad. I told this story before, but I actually did get an F on a project in school
that's
that I
terrible. What
turned
art teacher
in.
does that to a child?
One with taste.
Oh my, no. I mean, do you see some of the abstract paintings we have nowadays? It's
Oh
just little
yeah,
splatters.
yeah. It's
For all you know, it could have been an abstract painting.
yeah. It definitely could have by the time I was done with it. No, but it's really good to see that folks with all different backgrounds are able to get into this particular medium and enjoy themselves and enjoy entertaining people. Sounds like you've really gotten yourself into entertaining folks on the net, and you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Again, I'm coming from like this is somebody who was extremely socially awkward, very shy growing up.
Hmm.
My parents always said that I would go out, I couldn't even say hi to people. I just kind of like I like to turtle, quote unquote, is what I like to call it.
Yeah,
When I meet new people, I'll kind of like, tuck into my shirt like a turtle
yeah.
would tuck into its shell. Um, and then, coming across a lot of my online friends and then them introducing me to VTubing and then me incorporating my real life into my online persona has brought me out of that shell so much
Yeah, and
that it's only broadened my personality.
well, it certainly has given us a chance to get to know you, and for that I am thankful. It's always good to meet somebody who comes from different backgrounds and someone who obviously enjoys what they're doing and wants to continue doing this. What do you have any big plans coming up for your channel?
Um, I'm currently trying to figure out like a proper streaming schedule. I am definitely trying to go for longer hours
Mm.
because I feel like 2 hours just isn't enough to entertain people. Um, I'm looking. I think I actually have a friend who's working on a 3D model
Oh.
for me right now,
Mm.
so I can't wait for that.
Mm.
The original artist who did my art design for Persephone is currently practicing on, I believe it's called Blender,
Mm.
to make me a 3D model. So I'm super excited for that. Can't wait to see that. Something that's uh, more closely related to how I see Persephone to be on screen. Um, like I said, some more animations of Zeus,
Mm.
hopefully in the near future. I'm definitely trying to commission a lot of smaller artists
Mm.
to try to put their names out there so that they can get their names out there and some credit for their artwork. So definitely be on the lookout for a lot of art that I want to have done in the near future.
You know, folks, there's some folks you talk to in doing interviews, and you can just hear them smiling, and this person is one of
Well,
them.
thank you.
I
I'm just
get,
so excited. Like
I,
I honestly didn't even think like when I first started doing this back in December uh that this was even gonna be a thing that I'd be enjoy doing. And here I am getting so immersed in it and enjoying every second of it and just seeing me helping out not only myself as a small streamer open up, but to allow smaller artists to put their work out there and get their name out there and see how you know and see what they can come up for me, because I tell all my artists, I'm like, I'm not picky. This is my persona. This is my lore. This is my companion Zeus. Surprise me with whatever you want in your style, in your concept. I I will love it regardless. So I give all of my artists artistic freedom to do whatever they want with commissions, and I will pay them what they want and sometimes more, just for the appreciation.
You're something else in a good way.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming on. It's been a pleasure meeting you, and I hope that we can get you on again. Maybe once you get that new 3D model going, and as some more stuff is happening, we'll do some updates with you.
Yeah, sure, for sure, for sure. Like, I would be more than happy to come back anytime.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.